Imagine a room. In front of you is a red button that gives you exactly what you need to survive: food, money, security. But right behind a thick, frosted glass wall stands a stranger. Every time you press that button, they experience intense, invisible pain. On day one, your reaction is visceral. You hear their muffled cries through the glass, and your brain floods with empathy. Your hand hovers. The hesitation is agonizing because you recognize their suffering as if it were your own. Fast forward to day 10. The cries are still there, but your hesitation is completely gone. You press the button without a second thought. This drop-off in empathy is a documented biological response known as compassion fade, a survival mechanism ingrained in our evolutionary history. When your brain is forced into a continuous choice between securing your own immediate needs and absorbing the severe distress of someone else, it makes a cold, hard calculation. It prioritizes the reward. To ensure you keep functioning, your brain actively deploys a cognitive switch that mutes your natural human connection. You enter a desensitization loop, shutting down your capacity to care so you can survive. This scan shows the anterior cingulate cortex. When you witness another's pain, this region lights up, simulating their distress. But constant exposure triggers empathic distress. To prevent psychological burnout, your nervous system intervenes, and that ACC activation fades out. With the physical sensation of empathy dimmed, your brain still has to deal with the lingering guilt of causing harm, so it deploys a psychological defense mechanism known as moral disengagement. We start using euphemistic labeling, constantly convincing ourselves that the harm we cause is just business or collateral damage. We also displace responsibility, telling ourselves that we had no choice, or that the system forced our hand. The brain builds new neurological responses and cognitive frameworks to justify cruelty, as long as it results in a personal benefit. We aren't actually trapped in a lab with a glass wall, but we push an everyday button that harms others routinely. You might leave a career-ruining one-star review for a gig worker over a minor delay, or perhaps a manager fires a dozen employees by adjusting a detached spreadsheet. Distance creates a buffer. Whether that gap is geographic, digital, or bureaucratic, being separated from the direct consequences of our actions makes moral disengagement effortless. When suffering becomes massive or statistical, our empathy fails entirely. Look at the scale of this image showing a sprawling refugee camp. Our brains struggle to process the pain of thousands of distant people. Yet our empathy is deeply biased towards specific individuals. This photograph highlights the identifiable victim effect. We easily connect with a single recognizable face, while remaining completely numb to abstract, large-scale tragedies. This flowchart outlines dehumanization. When harming outgroups, we strip victims of their complex minds, denying them human nature to ease cognitive dissonance. Eventually, victims stop crying out, taking on a mechanistic passivity, because their screams yield no rescue. When the victim goes silent and the perpetrator has rationalized the act, the desensitization loop is complete. Everyday cruelty becomes an acceptable, completely unseen routine. Relying strictly on empathy to guide our moral compass is a trap. Psychologists have found that feeling another person's pain directly leads to exhaustion, emotional avoidance, and eventual burnout. The superior approach is compassion. Unlike empathy, compassion is a deliberate cognitive choice to care about someone's welfare without absorbing and being paralyzed by their distress. To break the desensitization loop, you have to apply 3 rules. First, close the gap. Because moral disengagement thrives on distance, you must force yourself to look directly at the human impact of your daily decisions. Second, the pause. Research shows that empathic influence takes time to process. By inserting a brief buffer, even a 6-hour delay between a harsh impulse and an action, you actively short-circuit your brain's automatic numbness. Third, compassionate action, or karuna. This involves protecting the vulnerable even when harming them provides you with a clear advantage. You are a biological organism driven by survival, hunger, and efficiency, but you possess the agency to bypass these ancient evolutionary traps. The next time you are tempted to press your everyday button, look through the glass. If you choose compassion today, type the word human in the comments below. And to keep exploring the hidden mechanics of your mind, subscribe to MindUnlock.